Hey, so I've got a Titan biomagnet in my fingertip here, and I wanted to show what kind of interactions you can have with regular objects in the environment, like when you're going around about your day to day. So, there's some materials that you'll encounter that are metal but not magnetic, and they'll have no interaction with your magnet at all. So, like for example, this is copper. Copper is electrically conductive because it's a metal, but it is not magnetic in any way. So I have no interaction when I touch that. A lot of things are aluminum, like this aluminum foil here, and aluminum is electrically conductive, but also not magnetic. So I get no interaction when I interact with that. There are a lot of objects you'll encounter that are steel. Now, this type of steel is a low carbon steel, so it's not stainless, it's just standard steel. It's difficult to tell by looking at it, but a lot of materials you'll encounter are stainless steels, and those you won't be able to attract with a magnet. So actually, I would say probably the majority of steels that you encounter, because stainless steels are used in applications where you're going to be touching them with your hands, because they're like acid resistant, things like that. The majority of the steel you're going to encounter actually isn't magnetic, so you have no interaction. But if you do encounter magnetic steel, the pinching force of it attracting to your magnet is not going to hurt your finger. I would say if the size of the object is wider than the diameter of your finger, the force will be distributed over a wide enough area that you probably won't even get like tissue necrosis if you leave your finger in contact with the object for a couple minutes. But if you left it there for like an hour or two, you might start to get like the capillaries in your skin between the magnet and the metal would get crushed, and you might get bruising, and eventually the tissue would die. So that's not great. Now, there are genuinely magnetic materials like this ceramic magnet here. So this, when I interact with this, I can feel it from quite a distance, even though it's a very weak magnet. So maybe like a centimeter away, I can pretty strongly feel it. And I can interact with this, and it has a much stronger crushing force on my finger than the steel did, but this weak of a magnet really doesn't hurt. It can flip if the poles are not the opposite pole from what your magnet is facing outward. It can sometimes be strong enough to flip your magnet inside your finger, especially with a Titan magnet like this, that the ratio of its Z height to its width is smaller, so it can rotate in the pocket. Wider magnets that are shorter won't rotate, so you shouldn't have that issue. But yeah, like right now my magnet just flipped, and it's mildly uncomfortable. With a stronger magnet it can be pretty uncomfortable. Now, this is a neodymium magnet right here. This is a much stronger magnet. It's comparable to the one in my finger. And when I interact with this, which you might encounter in the environment, it is going to hurt. It's going to fly through the air and pinch my finger. So let me show you. Yeah, so that flew out. The mass of the magnet affects how much pain you're going to experience from the impact. So that's one source of discomfort. Another one is the crushing force. So if I leave this in contact for maybe only a minute, I'll start to experience tissue necrosis. And if I take the magnet off, that'll repair itself naturally over the course of like 5-10 minutes. But I've left it on there for like 10 minutes, I might start to get tissue damage that would take much longer to heal. And with these type of magnets, the likelihood that the poles are going to be aligned is much lower. So you're going to experience flipping. But yeah, it is mildly painful. You can expect this type of interaction, but I mean, I can keep doing it without serious impact to my health. So I wouldn't worry too much. If you have a much larger magnet, like this neodymium magnet is from a hard drive, this will definitely flip your magnet. And the mass is greater, but the attraction force is less because the mass is so much that this magnet doesn't really pull that magnet away. So the impact is going to be less impactful, but you might experience faster tissue necrosis because of the strength of this magnet. So I hope that was informative. But yeah, I mean, having a magnet in your finger, as long as the encapsulation is strong enough to withstand your bodily fluids, like this titanium coated surgical grade magnet coating is, then you should be fine, but you will encounter magnets in your environment that you have to be careful of.